Hey everybody, it's Veruda, bringing you another League of Legends commentary, and today we're going to be talking about Xerath, the brand new AP champion to the league, and a very good addition at that. This champion is so good and so fun. I haven't been so excited about a champion since maybe Orianna. Riot and I have disagreed on whether a champion is good or not for quite some time, and this is definitely what the league needed. If you've ever played a StarCraft game, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that this champion feels very much so like a Terran siege tank. They both lock in place, they both get increased damage, and they both get increased range, and so this champion needed something that justified locking yourself in place. League of Legends and MOBAs, they base themselves around mobility. People start with boots, they buy movement speed quints. Moving around and positioning is a huge part of any team fight, a huge part of any laning phase. There needed to be some reason to plant yourself in one position and give up all that mobility, and this champion has the perfect kit to do that. He's got CC, huge range, like absolutely ridiculous, and he defeats passive play, and I think that is very important. Anytime you have those 5-on-5 standoffs, maybe they're hiding underneath their tower, and you just can't get to them, this champion is what you need on your roster. So, although they're similar, the Siege Tank and this champion, there's nothing like it in any sort of MOBA out there. This champion is unique in that aspect, but at the same time, you will feel like you're playing a Siege Tank. So, just wanted to say that. Let's go ahead and get right into the champion, his abilities, and the gameplay itself. First up is Xerath's passive. The more ability power that you give this champion, the more free armor he gets. That's a very good passive for a mage to have, especially someone that's going to be locking themselves in place. It's kind of the opposite of Galio if you think about it. Galio, they wanted to urge you into building more magic resistance, so they gave you the passive where the more MR you made, the more MR you had, the more ability power you got for free, so they urged you to build in a tanky way. This champion, they want you to build as fully offensive as you can and just think about doing as much damage as possible, and they're going to give you some free armor to boot because that'll allow you to live through people like Talon, Lee Sin, or maybe Xin trying to get to you. This champion, perfect synergy between the passive and his kit. Very, very strong. Now his Q is a straight line skill shot. It's not like it stops with the first thing it hits. It will go over creeps and it does damage to everything in that straight line. And it has a very good width, so you can do some serious damage when everyone's clustered up in the middle of a team fight. And with all of his other abilities, when you are planted in place with your W, as I'll get to in just a second, it will get an increase in your range. Now this ability is very strong for hitting people maybe under towers. Very, very good for proccing your stun. It is your main source of damage and is the first thing I level up while playing Xerath. It's a very good ability. I like it a lot. So Xerath's W is what locks him in place and makes him very similar to a siege tank. He gets extra range on all of his abilities, so his Q, his E, and his R all get that extra range. That allows for some harassment underneath towers, and like I said earlier, in those standoffs and team fights, maybe you can pick somebody off. And on top of that, it gives you some free magic penetration. So I level this one up probably last a lot of times. It really depends on what the opponents are building. If they're building a lot of magic resistance, I will level this first just because of the extra damage it does provide early for free. And as far as boots on this champion, that allows for some variety. You can go cooldown boots, you can go Sork boots, you could even go Mercs or the dodge boots. It really depends on what you want or what you're against. I like the cooldown boots because you can spam your Q on top of your E, and it allows for some very sick damage in the team fights, and you're getting plenty of magic penetration straight from that W ability. But, as I said before, this does make him very vulnerable, so you have to be careful about your positioning. One last thing about his W is that while you do come out of the locked position, you get a quick movement speed buff. It looks like ghosts underneath your feet. And if there's one thing to this champion that I think may have been a little excessive, unnecessary, if you will, a little bit like a crutch that was probably not needed for someone that enjoys higher skill threshold champions, it would be that. I feel there needed to be more risk to reward to locking in place. They're giving you another crutch. They're already giving you the passive for the free armor for champions like Xin here. As you see, he's going to come in here in just a second, and he's going to get his 3 talent strike, but he's only going to do 2 hits on me. There's a second. I'm going to have that movement speed buff, and it's going to get me 1 step ahead of him, and I'm going to escape. That's not necessary. I don't think that if they removed it, it would make him useless. I think it would put him in an even better position. I think that crutch is not necessary, but I do enjoy it while it's still here. So that's my personal opinion. I do think it needs to be removed. Here Zin's going to jump on me. I'm going to hit him with an E, follow up with the R, and I'm going to escape into the brush here. He probably could have continued chasing. Wasn't quite sure if he'd get me or not, but I did escape that without a death. So Xerath's R is his ultimate, and it is very strong. It is a 3-drop mortar type ability. In conjunction with your W, it has absolutely ridiculous range, and it has very good damage. You only pay for it the first time, so if you're low on mana and you're not sure what ability to cast, use the R because you get 2 more free charges out of it. It's very strong. It's very good. As you see here, he's going to use it on me. You do get a second to see where it's coming down, but it's not like it's enough to move out of the way. Maybe you could flash it, but it's almost instant. It's nice. It's very good in team fights. It's not as big an AoE like Gangplanks or Amumus or something, but it does get the job done. There is a lot of hurt to be put out with that ability. In conjunction with your E, like I said before, you can almost stun somebody instantly. So very good ability. As you see here, I'm going to be stunning. There's Xerath. I lock myself in place and I go for one more Q on top of Ezreal. I was across the river. That just shows you how far you can hit with your Q while locked in place with your W. Alright, so let's just jump right into the action. I am playing Xerath middle. I do have blue buff and cooldown reduction boots, and I do want to burst this guy at the first opportunity I'm given. I hit him with the E. The Q lands before the E, so I have to follow it up with a couple R's for the stun. One more Q there, and only possible due to the cooldown reduction boots and the blue buff landed me that kill. I do have Morgana and Xin taking out my tower top. I cut off her escape with R, finish her off with one more Q. I have one more charge on my R. I'm going to hit Xin with my E, followed by the R, and that is going to stun him in place and give me an opportunity to hit one more Q. He is going to run for me. You did see that 73 passive armor working for me that I only received from having the ability power. Now we have a team fight in bottom. I planted myself in place. Although the team fight is going down by the bottom lane, I am up by red buff, and as soon as my cooldowns are done with my ultimate, I'm going to flash the wall there, ignite plus an E on top of Xin, takes him down. I'm going to do one more Q on top of Ezreal, pick up the double kill. The opposing Xerath coming from the top right takes out Caitlyn with his ultimate. He has one more charge left. We're just waiting for it. He hits Udyr there. I asked for vision. He gives me a nice ward, but it's not going to be enough. I'm not going to be able to land an E for his stun, and he is going to get away. Here we go, we're waiting by middle lane and river. We're just looking for an opportunity. I do spot Soraka. I'm going to land an E on her. I would have landed a stun here, but she used flash. Maokai goes underneath the tower, starts tanking it for us. There Morgana uses their ult when no one was around, moves into the middle of our team. Not quite sure what she was doing there. We're going to have my ignite plus Lee Sin kick plus one more Q. Does take her out, and we're going to have Xin Zhao on top of me. I take a Q from the opposing Xerath, flash out of the battle, and I'm looking to stun Ezreal here. Land the E, followed up by the Q, just doing as much damage as possible. Caitlyn takes out Soraka, plus a nice net. One more Q from me and a Q from her will take out Ezreal, and it looks like she's going to be chased by both Xin and Xerath. They're probably going to get her, so I'm just trying to harass a little bit. Not smart. Probably got me killed here. I don't know really what I was thinking. Maybe if I could lock myself in place and had vision before he had the opportunity to come for me. But here's where he outplays me so hard. He flashes in there with the movement speed buff from unlocking from W and does land an E, the fastest projectile you've got in close range. Keep that in mind while playing Xerath. Very smart play. I learned something from this game, and I hope you guys do as well. Here we go, have a team fight going down. Maokai tried to initiate for us, but it's not going to be enough. It is a 3v5. Their Xerath is just taking my team out from the side. We have Lee Sin kicking Morgana over my Q so she doesn't take the damage from it. I try to ignite her. She's not going to go down, and I do go down to the Xin. So, as I was saying earlier, you do need to be careful about your positioning, and that is a perfect example of where I should not have been. I was trying to help out my team, and I really probably should have just run at that point. There you did see me take out the opposing Morgana right underneath her tower, and I do find it very ironic that this champion, although he's a very, very offensive unit with that range, he can take out people underneath their turrets, he can turtle with the best of them. This champion is very difficult to push against, not only with his range, but his burst and his damage, and you combine that with the line of sight, with the walls in your base, you become a very, very difficult thing to push against, and it feels exactly as any artillery unit should from any RTS game you've ever played, specifically siege tanks. They're very strong and very difficult to push up against. This champion does exactly what he's supposed to as an artillery-type champion. After taking out the opposing Xerath, we do pick up a very easy Baron, and we're looking to push this middle lane. I have an E on top of Ezreal. He is going to Arcane Shift out of my ultimate there, which would have stunned him and probably killed him being out of position like that. I am watching the timer very closely. As I said before, if you use the first charge of the ultimate, you have 2 more for free. You may as well use them. Trying to get a little bit more harassment on him before the team fight goes down. Soraka has a nice heal on him. He's not going to even be hurt that bad. We're going to have a nice Dark Binding from Morgana on me. We're going to have Ezreal's ult plus Xin jumping in on me, and I will go down almost instantaneously. Udyr ports in. We have Caitlyn taking out Xin and Soraka. And we have the Udyr waiting for an auto attack on top of Morgana as she used her Zhonya's Hourglass, but he's going to switch targets and go to Ezreal. Ezreal goes down, Caitlyn gets taken out by Morgana, and we have Maokai taking out Morgana. So it was a 2-for-4 trade, not bad, but the King of Turtling, their opposing Xerath, will be able to sit there and hold us to that 1 tower. Here's where roaming through their jungle, we do see an opening. Maokai snares the opposing Xerath. I move in there with a nice stun, and he's going to go down just as heavily and quickly as I did last time. We do take out 2, so that gives us a 5v3 opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and get super aggressive here, flash the wall, stun Xin underneath his tower. I take a couple tower shots. Xin's going to get 1 more Q from me, plus the Caitlyn ult, threading the needle between 2 champions. He will go down. I have the exhaust from Ezreal. I stun him in place. Maokai moves in there to help me. He roots him, he knocks him up, and we will be able to take him down, plus the 2 inhibitors, middle and bottom, and it looked like we were going to be able to finish the game right here. Soraka gets super aggressive. She silences and Qs me. She's going to go for it. She's going to flash on top of me, finish me off with a Q, and I will go down. She probably kept them in the game for a little bit longer because of that. Their team got back up and aced us, so at that point it was only Udyr and I who could get back up and try to defend. They don't have any creeps, so they're just tanking the tower themselves here with the counter push. I'm going to use my ultimate. I am going to be able to take out Morgana here. Xin is taking a lot of damage from that tower. Udyr jumps on top of him. I start working on Ezreal. He is going to Arcane Shift away. I wasn't able to land the stun as the opposing Xerath stunned me. I lock myself in place, use my Q, take him out, and that will be able to allow us to push back into their base one more time. I start using my ultimate, getting my revenge on Ezreal here. He goes down before he even has an opportunity to respond, and that will bring about the end of the game. One reason I do enjoy using fraps right over the game itself is if I lag out, you do have proof. So there you go, team. Anyone that was questioning whether I actually lagged or not, there it is. I lagged out so hard. I can't even explain what's going on in the team fight. All I do know is that we came out ahead and we were able to finish the game off. I just want to say that this champion is awesome. If you like mages, this is one you need to pick up. He's a very solid counter AD pick. So like if they're picking Talon to go middle, that's a really strong pick for you. This champion is really good. He does exactly what he's supposed to, and I'm really impressed with it, and it's been a while since I've been able to say that. So, as always, this has been Veruda. This is my commentary of Xerath. If you liked it, please click the like button, and if you'd like to see more content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified every single time it comes out. I apologize that this video took so long in coming out. I had some midterms, some family visiting, and I was under the weather for quite a while, and my throat was really not up to me talking so quickly. So, again, thank you very much for watching. This has been Veruda, and I will see you out there. Thanks, guys.